Wow. And when you're getting into this landing craft, and it's bobbing up and down, what was the weather like that day?
It was okay day. It was overcast, but the waves were pretty severe, so we were getting sick.
So it was pretty choppy out there.
Yeah, guys were sick in the boats.
And I imagine the boats were pretty crowded, and you're smelling diesel fumes, and
Big time.
guys are getting sick and starting to throw up on each other. And
Yes, and you have a variety of emotions in there. There's guys like me, I'm just a kid, it's a lark. I don't know what battle is. And I had gone to the movies and seen them.
left-hand turn towards Suribachi.
That was their job, take Suribachi. The other, and I'm getting confused with the numbers now, so I won't do that, but somebody else in the 28th was supposed to go directly across, cut the island in half. It was only like less than a mile, half a mile maybe. And they went right across, and they did that the first day. And then the 27th was alongside, and they went just straight up ahead. There was an airport up there, airfield, and they were supposed to go up there and start fighting to take the airfield. And alongside us is the 4th Marine Division. The beaches are marked, and there was green, but I was Red Beach 1, Green Beach. We went into Red Beach 2, and we had practiced, and somebody goes in and puts a marker up. And your boss goes in, the leaders go in, and they put a big silk flag up, and that's our marker. And when we found that, we knew this is where we're supposed to be, and the next thing we're supposed to do is help unload. So we would go down to the water's edge as more stuff came in. Here come the jeeps and the tanks and the artillery, and try to help them get off. And it was really tough because the sand was bad, and you just sunk in the sand. I remember a jeep came in. He got the jeep about off the ramp, and it just started to sink in the sand. And we all tried to pull that jeep and get it going. The poor driver sitting in there with his assistant, a radio jeep, it's full of stuff. And they got those exhaust pipes that go way up, and the air inlet that goes way up. They can go underwater, I guess, for a while. And so we just kept trying to save that jeep. And I remember, I think I found a board or something, and I dove underneath, and I thought, I'll be a hero here. I put a board under the wheel so he could get some traction. And that wheel grabbed that board out of my hand, and boom, it went flying. Well, that was real smart. So I remember that. I come bubbling back up again, and we're not going to, the jeep sank. It's probably still, I'm sure it's still there.
How deep of water was this?
It was a steep incline at the, and then right. I just happen to have a picture. Did you ever see this book?
No, I haven't.
It's a wonderful book of pictures of that. If you can see that. Here we are going in. Joe Rosenthal. There's a picture of a beach. Anyway, the guys are going in, and as a matter of fact, this is what we were doing, helping to pull stuff off. And this first slope was really tough, and you can see the guys are sinking, and this thing's sinking. And it was just very, very soft sand.
And that's the actual beach that you landed on, right there.
This is Iwo.
And what beach was that? What was the label of that beach? Red Beach 1?
I don't know this picture.
Okay.
But it's typical of that.
I see.
And so
the sand was like black volcanic ash, or?
Yes.
I see.
It was very soft. It was like coffee ground. And you couldn't dig a hole. You dug a hole, and it just closed in on you all the time.
I see.
Soft sand. It really bogged us down. But we got through, and it was hard to bring tanks. It was hard to bring artillery. It was hard to bring anything on wheels. They just sunk right away in the sand.
How much time was it from the time you actually landed on the beach between the time that you were actually shot at, or somewhat closely shot at?
By the Japanese on that day?
Yes, sir.
That's a good question. I think it was, we landed around 9. I think the assault troops went in around 8:30 or 9, and we went in around 9 or 9:30, right behind them, but we're supposed to say we're not heroes. So we were in early, and it wasn't too bad, but there were dead guys there when we got in. So somebody raked them over as they came in, but then it let up. when we got in there, it wasn't too bad, and we started to get some things done. They were picking us off from Suribachi with rifles. Remember, some guys would just fall down. But what wasn't that bad, and then, either that day or the next day, we began to set up house. We had a little hole over here through a tree fields, and we'd eat our food there. Then they got us. They had waited, and up on the other side of the island, they had the guns zeroed in and the gun registered and gridded on that beach. And that's when we took our day after day after day, or night after night. They just come up the beach, and you could look down and see it coming. Boom, 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 coming to you. And you could just see it come up your way, and you see guys hurting all the way up, and then they come to you. And you just, by the grace of God, you survived that. My good friend was Joe Messina. I'm Merriman, his name is Messina, and we stood beside each other every morning at roll call. He's M-E-S-S, I'm M-E-R-R. We weren't close buddies, but he's a nice guy, and I knew him. We just happened to be together at that moment. Here they come, and we saw it, and we said, time to duck. They're coming towards us. And he went in that hole, and I went in this hole, and I heard Joe say the Lord's Prayer, and it got him. The shell went right in his hole. He was killed. And I still go to church, and I still say the Lord's Prayer, but I still think of him every time.
Wow.
I just can't shake
Joe
that.
Messina.
He was killed that first day. Or
Did he
second
complete the prayer?
No, it was right in the middle. And he was saying, I could hear him out loud, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, and boom. And I saw parts of him go up. Joe. So that was our hurt. We were really chopped up pretty bad on the beach as we waited. Then as the assault troops moved up and the planes got there, it lightened up. We were able to do our job better. They brought in a lot of Marston matting. You know what that is? Those big sheets of metal.
Mm-hmm.
And we laid that out, and then the tanks could just roll on it. It was supposed to be for the airplanes, but they got it to the beach so we could get the tanks and the vehicles to go.
Wow. His name was Joe Messina?
Joe Messina.
And he was from?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know.
Wow. Messina sounds like an Italian name.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
Wow.
Kind of ironic, too. I don't know how to find their names or addresses or anything. It's a common name, like I'm doing a computer, but I don't know anything about them. A couple like that.
You think it was a artillery, or you think
it was artillery?
Mortar. Golly, when it hits some guy like that, do they ever find enough to actually say, to mark a grave?
Well, we did that. After the shelling let up, we built the cemetery, 5th Marine Division Cemetery. Bulldozers came in and made it.
Sure.
And then we would go out in teams of 4 with stretchers. We'd carry water cans, jerry cans, and things like that up to the guys as far as we could with ammunition, give them our bandoliers, and then we would put their dead on our stretcher and try to get back. And you'd get in some danger, maybe going and coming, but it wasn't that. We survived. So most of the guys you find are mangled pretty bad, and they're hurt, they're dead. But I don't think they mark the spot so much as, you get two dog tags. One's this way and one's hanging, and they cut the one off and leave one on. We'd bring them back, and there's grave detail guys. We'd put them in a row in the ground, in their poncho, and take their personal stuff and put all the helmets over here, all the rifles over here. And you took as much personal stuff as you could, and you gave it to the grave guys, and then you buried them in their poncho, side by side by side. We also brought back Japs. We'd mostly throw them in one big hole. Bulldozer would just dig a real big hole. We just kept shoveling all the Jap bodies in there that we could find. You didn't find too many until you caught maybe a pillbox got blown up, and there was about 6 of them in there. You could get them out of there because they stunk. We all stunk, and the flies were starting to get bad. And the planes would come and spray the whole place with DDT, I guess, while we were battling to keep the flies down. I'm amazed that the military thinks of everything.
Wow.
They come in there with all those white crosses. They had a ship with all those white crosses on it. They were ready.
When you're bringing these guys back, did you ever run across somebody that was still partially alive?
No, that's Corpsman. I don't remember bringing back anybody alive in any way.
Do you
walking or anything?
Did you bring anybody back that you recognized?
No.
Thank God for that.
Yes, and I have a funny story. We went to get a guy that had, there he was dead. He's laying in the sand, and he died like this. He had his one hand up like this. We put him on the stretcher. Everybody takes a corner. I had the corner here with my left hand, and his arm was right there. And as we're jogging, walking along, his dead hand bounced on my arm. And every once in a while we'd say, rotate. I couldn't wait to rotate. It's really spooky. His hands, you think, is he? I remember that one.
That'll be bad.
But most of them are hurt pretty bad.
Needless to say, you weren't cut out to be a mortician. You never ran across John Vassalone.
No, he was 27th, and he was killed right away. Right away, I think the first day.
Yeah. Wow.
But a good friend of mine, named Tatum in California, he's made a couple of videos about it, and I buy the videos.
I think I talked to him on the phone some years ago.
I was with him, and he survived the whole battle. They took him off. Psycho is not the right word, but battle fatigue. So he lasted a long time, but he's devoted his life to Vassalone.
Wow.
They want to put it on public radio, public TV, and I sent them a couple $1,000 to try to help get it in. But they want me to go around Texas, and I don't want to do that, and ask all the public TV stations to run their video.
Wow.
But they've made 2 so far.
And when you mean run the video,
just play it on the...
Play it, but would they, I mean, once you get the video made, couldn't Mr. Tatum receive some money for the work that you guys put all this together from the stations, saying, yeah, we're glad,
I get the impression you pay the station.
Oh, I see.
Because he wanted donations.
Yeah. Because,
but I might be mistaken. Maybe he just wanted to get paid for what he had put into it, yeah. And maybe hoping to get some reimbursement.
Yeah, because that way he could do, get more detailed with whatever the project was. Interesting. I'd love to find out what videos those are at a later time.
Before you leave, I have them right there.
Great. I might have.
Matter of fact, I think I have an extra one, but we'll see when you
Great.
leave.
Anyway, is there any other stories can you elaborate any more on the combat situation?
Well, yes, we landed on February 19th, and I'm going to say about March 1st, little by little they were taking us away from the beach, and we were replacing infantry, and that's when I joined the 28th Regiment.
And that was Fox Company?
Yes.
Which battalion was that?
2nd Battalion.
Fox 2?
F-228.
228.
But I didn't know that. We didn't know who we were with. I don't think anybody knew. It was really chaotic up on the lines. We went up there, almost all the original 5th Marine Division guys were dead or wounded. And so it was a lot of replacements. Some of the artillery guys had come up. Truck drivers had come up. I came up with our type guys. We came up and they assigned us one old timer. And they said, no, he's your mentor here. Stay with him, do what he says. And he was like your fire team leader. And so he would say, hi, I'm Joe, and I've been in Guadalcanal or something, and I've been here a while, and do what I say. And we'd say, okay, whatever you say. We have enough brains. We don't know what we're doing. And so we were assigned guys, and we were back of the lines, if there were lines. It was chaotic. I don't think it was a line like this. It was a group over here and some people there and some up on that hill, and it's little by little, because it was it was a moonscape. I don't remember the man's name, but he was my guy. He was with me and another guy. We were circled in. We were in a circle of wagons kind of thing with wall all around us, like a little amphitheater. I guess it was a company, a makeshift company. We were not on the lines. We met each other. We ate, cleaned our weapons. And they said, Japs will come in here tonight. They're going to come in. So we piled jerry cans of water and put some food in the middle. And we're all around there, dug in as best we can with rocks and everything. There was only one way for them to come in. It was right where I was. And they came in. And I was asleep, and this man, his leader, he was a corporal, and I was a private. He said...
And what day of the battle was this?
Well, this would have been about March 4, 5, 6 in there. And he says, he took his K-bar out. He stuck it in the side of the dirt. And we said, what was that about? He said, you're going to wish you had that if they come in here. I said, you better keep that real close. And then again, I got a wake-up call. I don't want to fight with a knife. You know, I just didn't want to do that.
Wow.
Me and the other guys with me, we were still replacements. And we got home. So we did that like he did. I dozed off. And when I woke up, there was a Jap. He was right there in front of us. And he tried it. By then, they had given me a BAR. And I had the BAR aimed at this patch where they had to come through. And they'd come through, and we missed him. And he tripped over my BAR, and he's falling down. And the guy in the next hole, Savage, an original 5th Division guy, turns out, he shot him with the M1, and I watched him. He put 8 bullets in him, faster than I didn't know you could fire a gun that fast. He went bang, 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 8 bullets. Before the Jap guy hit the ground, I swear, he got all 8 bullets in him.
Where did you hit the guy?
All through here. Wow. There's flares up, and it's the middle of the night, and he saw him, and every now and then there's no flare, and it's pitch black, and whoa. So there was about 6 Japs came in, and they all got killed. They killed a couple of our guys who were jumping in the hole with grenades. They were on suicide missions, and everybody's very tense, and we're all, you know, is there any more around? It's real quiet, and very pregnant moment, if you will. And a guy in one hole says, one of the things you remember, he says, and now that was Doc Savage. That was a cartoon character in those days, a comic book guy. We all knew Doc Savage. I think anybody in the Marines named Savage was called Doc Savage. So Doc Savage was over there, real southern guy who had done it. And somebody said, did you get him, Doc? Everybody's real quiet. He goes, yep. I remember that. But the next night they said, the Japs are going to come in again, get a dog. They went back and they got a war dog. And they stuck the war dog right out there in front where I would be shooting. So I thought, I'll make friends with the dog. I went up, you don't make friends with the dog.
Exactly.
I went up, and the man's eating, and he's the handler, and he's eating, he's giving the dog something. It was a Doberman. And he's eating something, and they pet the dog. He loves the dog. He's really romantic with the dog. So I went up and I said, hi, you gonna talk to the dog? He said, stay away. And I said, well, let me just, no. He said, and the dog goes, rrr. He said, he's a one-man dog, and I'm the man, stay away. And he, right in this pass, he laid out and he went to sleep. He trusted that dog, and all night that dog would go, rrr. The Japs probably heard that. They didn't come in. But it's corporal in the hole with us, our teacher. He said, now in the morning, don't get up. First guy up. So often the Japs are going to pick him off. They got a nice rifle sight on us. They can see us. So he said, wait till there's people walking around, eating chow or something. Just don't be the first one up. I said, okay. That morning, he stood up and got a bullet right there. And he fell at our feet. And we looked at each other. He had told us.
Yeah, what was his name?
I don't know.
Wow. What did the guy look like?
I don't remember. I remember his face, but just looked like you.
Wow.
Yeah, about your size and height.
And he was an older guy that said, don't be the first one up.
He had been in battle before, and he's, you know, they tried to assign us to guys that had more experience.
And you think...
and he was original 5th, bless his heart.
What do you think the reason was that was it just by coincidence that he was the first one to get up?
He didn't do it, I'm sure, to sacrifice.
Right.
He just got it. You know, like I say, it sticks in your mind. He had just told us.
When a guy gets hit in the head with a rifle round, does he lose all his head, or just?
No, just a hole right there. There's usually an exit hole, which is kind of big.
Do they you know, like your buddy Messina? Do you hear anything? You don't.
He just blew up before. I often think he never knew what hit him.
He just
like these suicide bombers. Yeah, I think. And the bullet was the same way. And later on in the battle, when I was wounded, there was a guy right beside me. He said, I'm getting out of here. And he made a move, and we were getting shot at, just he and I. We got stuck up behind some rocks. And they knew we were there, and there was nobody to help us. And he said, I'm getting out of here. And he made a move, and he got a bullet right there. And I looked at him. And he said, oh, like a surprise. And that was it. Oh.
No
And
kidding.
then he fell across me. And
It's amazing that somebody could even talk after getting a bullet, man.
yeah,
You know,
I guess there's just a moment of, hey, what happened? And,
yeah.
but that's what seems to happen. And I guess it's like I say, in Asia, it's pretty severe, depending on the bullet.
Mm.
The typical rifle bullet is so smooth that it just makes it, you could hardly see it.
And who was it? You don't know the guy's name that said, I'm gonna get, what did he say, I'm gonna get out of here?
I know him. That was Alfred Cicocelli.
Alfred Cicocelli.
Yes.
And
he was in my outfit. And again, I didn't know him hardly at all. But I remember we were laying real close. We were like cuddled. And I could see his name on his jacket, Alfred Cicocelli. And I knew he was one of us.
How do you spell Cicocelli?
Ciccocelli. Cicocelli.
And it sounds like another Italian name.
Oh, very much. And it was sad. I couldn't move. And then the Japanese were throwing grenades. Our guys were here, and they were about there, not that far. Me and Cicocelli were in the middle. We had attacked, and they chased us back, but we couldn't get back. He and I got stuck.
The area where Cicocelli was hit on Iwo, if you had to describe, looking at the pork chop map of Iwo, would this be like in the center or?
Up in the northeast and right atop of where, it's Nishi Point, I think, or Nishi Village. It was right where Kurabayashi had his headquarters. We were right in that area.
And how far from the beach was this?
We could almost see the beach, but it was not the original beach. We could see the coastline.
On the other
On
side?
our left. We were now coming up the left side of the island.
I see.
Yeah, we could see. And one day we went down and jumped in the water and swam for a few minutes. And came back up.
Now we're in relationship to, where's Suribachi
Back,
compared?
it was way behind us now. We're closing up with the big part of the island.
Oh, I
slowly
see.
getting there.
Okay.
Closing in. The 3rd Division had come in now, and they took the middle. The 4th stayed on the right, and the 5th was coming up on the left. What was left of everybody.
I see. So, yeah, you didn't go behind Suribachi. You went up and to the right, to the large portion of the island.
Yes.
I see.
The division took Suribachi, and then they come back up, and they went up to the left side. But I became a replacement in there.
I
with
see.
them.
Wow.
So the Japs threw grenades back and forth, and the Japanese grenade is a concussion grenade, we were taught, and it won't really hurt you. It'll hurt your ears. And so I saw them. They were going off all around us, he and I. And that's when he said, I'm getting out of here. But it was our rifle guy, had us zeroed in, and it was chipping the rocks around us. And we couldn't move. And he said, I'm getting out of here. He got the bullet. The grenades kept coming back and forth, but I knew, yes, he had known, they know we're here. And the other Marines are down behind a little ledge right here, and the Japs are behind a little ledge right there. Both sides know what's going on, but we're in the middle. And so our sergeant hollered out, Merriman, can you get back here? And Cicocelli, get back here. And I hollered, can't. And by that time, the grades were really flying. And I looked over, after Cicocelli got hit, he fell across me. And I looked over, and there was an American grenade. And I knew I was in big trouble. And I have one here. And I have the piece that hit me.
No
The
kidding.
doctor took it out, and they gave it to me.
Is that right?
But it was this piece. I'm going to say this piece right here, and I can show it to you later.
Let me,
So here's a safe grenade. But I look out and I see this, and there's this piece right there.
that piece of the grenade.
Yeah, one of these pieces of the pineapple. Like
Wow,
I say, I
baby.
have it. And they split into 40 pieces. And that piece got me in the back.
I'll be darned.
And I had a BAR by then. They had made us all take a BAR. They just wanted more firepower. So we all had BARs then. Took the bipod off, took the bipod, and the flash, we took that off, stripped it down. And I had the BAR, and I'm hiding in there, and I remember the Marines teach you, don't leave that weapon. So I remember digging in the dirt. I'm praying now. I mean, it was a lot of praying. please listen, let me get out of here. I took the bolt out of the VAR, and with my hands I dug a hole and I buried the bolt, because I was going to leave everything and try to get out of there. And I did. I unhitched everything, cartridge belt. I think I kept my helmet on, and I hollered, I'm trying to come back. That was when I felt back, like, the blood all over me, and I thought, oh, I got to make a move here. So I said my prayers, buried the bolt, left everything there, and I got up and I ran for it. It was only like 8 steps. And I got about halfway and I fell. And a stump hit me right here. Punctured me pretty bad. And I had to keep telling people, don't worry about that. But they pulled me and they grabbed me down. And I think Bradley.
James Bradley?
Yeah. Treated me.
No, John Bradley.
John Bradley put the first patch on me.
Is that right?
Yeah. I was able to tell him and his mother. Him and his mother. Yeah. I said I told them in Washington D.C. I said I think your dad was the first guy to treat me.
Wow.
Put the first patch on me and try to get me back.
And the first patch was up here or in your back?
Well, they kept wanting. He said, "Man, you got a big cut." I said, "I just felt I got something's bad back here. I could tell." I was very blessed. Everywhere I went for the next couple of months in the hospital, every doctor said, "Can you move your legs?" It's this far from my spine where it hit me. Yeah, I could have been in a wheelchair for like this far, but I could move my legs, and they would all go. And every doctor would say it real tenderly, "Can you move your legs?"
And how far in did the shrapnel go?
I'm going to guess probably a ½ inch or an inch or so. I went back. They got me back. Through some bad stuff at night. The Jeep driver, they got a Jeep up there. He turned his lights out, and then they start shooting at the Jeep, and they dumped me on the ground. They said, "We can't do this." So they left me there for a while. But they finally come back and got me. Now it's nighttime. I'm laying outside, but we're way back, and the Army's in there. And the Army has a MASH unit. And laying outside, you're taking your turn to have them look at you in the dark. And they took me in. He's got a light, like so, inside his tent. And they lay me up there, and they say, "Turn, look at my wound." Well, I'm out of it. They've been giving me morphine, and I'm just about half awake. And I look up in the light, and I see what I think is a Jap. And I think, oh, this is a bad dream. And I try to get out of there. And he grabs me. It's a Chinese American Army doctor. He says, "I'm Captain Lee Chong Lee. I am a United States Army. Do not be afraid."
Wow.
Oh, boy. Just for a moment, I thought, I've been wrong. But he said, "I can get that out of there." He said, "You hold on now." He said, can you do it without pain?" And I said, "Keep trying." And he did. And I said, "Please give me something that was hurting." And then all of a sudden he said, "Here." And he gave me the piece, and I have it. I have it on the wall up there with my Purple Heart.
No kidding.
Isn't that something? It's that piece right there.
I'll be darned.
And I got better. What a miracle.
No infections?
No. It took about 2 months to, on my back and everything.
When you first got hit, you knew something was wrong.
Yes, I lifted up in the air.
Oh, you were lifted up.
Yeah, we both went boom. That's an awful thing.
Well, how much time was there between the grenade landing and Ciccicelli getting hit?
He had already been killed. And so he said, "I'm getting out of here." And he got hit. And like I say, he said, "Oh." And he had just gotten up about like this on his knees, and he fell across me. He was covering enough of me. Well, I think he took a lot of the grenade.
Is that right?
Somebody did. There's a lot of pieces there.
When you looked down and obviously saw this hole in Chuck Ciccicelli,
I just saw him in his head. He went like this.
What's going through your mind when something like that happens? Do you let me ask you this, because I've never been in a situation like that, and probably never will at my age, thank God. But when you see somebody get it like that, and they're laying across you, are you so bogged down with the stress of combat, saying, "What do I do next to get myself out of this situation?" Or do you look at the individual thinking of the personal aspect? I just was with this guy, Ciccicelli. We've been through all this training, and my gosh, this violent picture before me, and do you question yourself or anything?